And joining us live from our Kaduna studios to provide insight into the signing of the budget by President Tinubu, among other related matters, is Professor Kabir Mato of the Abuja Department of Political Science and International Relations and a Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for joining us, Professor, and Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you too.
Now, Professor, what are your takeaways from the President's national address?
Well, thank you very much. The central focus of the address of the President this morning actually was to assure Nigerians that all the very difficult decisions that he has taken up in the issue of the commencement of his administration are decisions that are necessary if Nigeria is to get out of the predicament that it has found itself in over many, several years. One of them, of course, is the withdrawal of subsidy on petroleum products, as well as the removal of, the parallel market as far as the foreign exchange regime is concerned. The President was very emphatic that he feels the pains of each and every one of us, and that he is assuring us that he's committed to ensuring that in the shortest possible time, apart from the necessary palliative measures that he's putting in place, the result of the very painful, decisions that have been taken will be realized, and at the end of the day, Nigerians, will celebrate. But fundamentally, he has drawn a lot of effort in the area of building the refining capacity of the Nigerian, oil industry, which to a great extent will invariably lead to sharp reduction in the price of petroleum products as we see in the markets today. If that is achieved, it also has the other very serious implication of perhaps liberating the Naira to regain some value against the US dollars. And I believe, of course, that's one of the major difficulties that Nigerians are facing at the moment. Of course, the issue of insecurity has been a national calamity, and government has been saying a lot of things over the last few years. And the moment some sections are addressed, we see that new frontiers are also opened in terms of the tactics and strategies of the undesirable elements within the society, causing havoc, pains, and penury to the majority of the Nigerian nation. And I hope that the President will pay more attention on perhaps reinvigorating the Nigerian security agencies and apparatuses to the extent that they probably will have to change their tactics in order to be able to combat this very obvious national menace that has given most Nigerians sleepless nights. So I think the speech was, as usual, a lot of understanding, a lot of call on us to appreciate the circumstances and the necessities behind the painful decisions taken, which at the end of the day will lead to the realization of.
Now let's talk about new frontiers, which you mentioned. What do you think of the President's desire to make Nigeria the destination of choice for foreign investors? Professor, what do you think of the President's desire to make Nigeria the destination of choice for foreign investors?
Well, that's President Tinubu's, desire all the time. He says that, Nigeria should be, and ordinarily Nigeria should be, because a nation of 250 million naira with a backed up purchasing power and relative economic stability should be a destination for any investor wishing to come to the continent of Africa. But we have been bedeviled by serious crisis, like I did say, the crisis in the very weak currency that the Naira is gradually turning into, unless of course there are deliberate, strategies on the part of the president and his government to, do away from this extreme economisticism that tends to put the value of the currency at the mercy of the production capacity within the country or the level of the foreign reserve that we have. We may continue to face this crisis, and the more the naira slides against the dollar, the less the attraction on the part of those who may desire to invest in this country. So I think the president has to listen also to the alternative explanation and not pay too much emphasis on what the Washington Consensus group of economists that are running the affairs of the economic sector in Nigeria. The president must also listen to the alternative. There has to be some level of government involvement in the determination of the value of the Nigerian currency. If we allow it to continue to be dependent on...
To cut you in, Professor, I'm sorry, I have to cut you there, because the president returned to Abuja and immediately signed the budget passed by the National Assembly. Can you say that the president is already walking the talk?
Some firm, decisive decision that may not be, palatable to the Washington Consensus group that will continue to tell us to devalue our currency and so on and so forth, remove subsidy on petroleum products, and so many other things like that. This is a naira that, a dollar that was 75 kobo in the last 30-35 years. For God's sake, is going for over 1,000 naira to a dollar today in Nigeria. And all this, in my view, actually strict adherence to the prescription that we get from the World Bank, from the IMF, without injecting some major or decisive
I'm afraid I have to cut you again, Professor. Thank you very much, Professor. I'm afraid I have to cut in there, Professor.